What's up, you guys? Godzilla Fan Freaks coming at you today with another figure review. And today we're reviewing the X Plus 30 centimeter diamond reissue Baragon 1965, also 1968 because it comes with the bonus head. This figure I also got for my birthday from my friend Daniel. Thank you very much. I really wasn't going to get this figure at first. The only figures I was getting from Diamond that they were releasing so far was really just Anguirus and then Gigan, which I moved up top here. But the reason I finally decided to get Baragon, which was because he came with the extra head. I mean, originally we just thought he was going to come with the 1968 head sculpt, which I just clumsily almost dropped. But at the last second, once people were getting these in, like John Stanowski at Flossie's and a few other people, once they were getting them in, they were looking at the boxes, and it says it includes the 1965 version and the 1968 version heads. So it's like this guy is technically our first Rick Boy Diamond reissue X Plus, and it's like that's really cool. So that really made me want to get this guy because he came with the two different option heads. I like the 1965 head better than I do the 1968. That's just because the 1965 reminds me of Frankenstein versus Baragon because that's the movie that the head sculpt is from. 1968 is Destroy All Monsters, but we'll talk about how the head sculpts are different in a little bit. But so I wasn't going to get this guy at first, but then when they just threw a curveball at us and didn't even tell us that this guy was going to include two different head pieces, it was like, what the hell, Diamond? What the hell? Tell us these things. So it's like I thought I was going to miss out on this guy, but my friend Daniel picked me up one from Flossie's Gifts, and so I appreciate that. And again, I love Baragon, so it's like I was going to pass on him at first just because I could, and I really didn't want to spend the money at the time because I had the 25 centimeter 1965 Baragon. But since this guy came with the two different head sculpts, I was like, what the hell? I got to get it now. So anyways, let's just get on into this review with the front cover of the box because I break down all my X Plus boxes. So here's the front cover of the box. Very nice purple color used. You got Baragon in big old letters, a picture of the figure with the 1965 head, and then of course you have the 1968 head kind of here in the background off to the side blown up. So, and then here underneath Baragon you have the 1965 and 1968 version heads included. So there's the front cover of the box. And again, this figure looks great. Another thing that put me over the edge on this figure of wanting to get it was David Eric Dopko's pictures with the 1965 head on. He just made this figure look so beautiful and so bomb. I couldn't pass it up at that point. And my friend Daniel decided to nab it for me for my birthday. So thank you again, Daniel. I appreciate it. So enough blabbering on. What do I want to get into first? We'll talk about the head sculpts last, and let's just go right into this figure with paint job. Baragon, very nice brown all the way around his body, different shades of brown here and there, but a very nice kind of like, dirt, almost mud kind of brown for his main base of his skin. On his back, he has a little bit of lighter brown, shading going all the way down his back, down to the tip of his tail. Very nicely well done. But overall, just kind of one solid color brown all over his body. You kind of do have a little bit of lighter brown here for the ears and his spikes on the top of his head. Of course, on the inside of his mouth and whatnot, it's hard to see, but his teeth are kind of a really dark brown, really dirty teeth. He needs to brush his teeth. And the inside of his mouth is kind of almost like a really deep brick reddish almost kind of look. And then, of course, you got the eyes, which have little, shading of it's almost like a reddish orange, which is really nice. And then, of course, black, and then, of course, more white. And then his horn, unlike the 25 centimeter Baragon, his horn is not translucent. His horn is just a solid, kind of a creamish yellow color. It would have been cool if they made his horn translucent just to give it that little more of a realism look, but it's all right. It doesn't take away anything from the figure. It still looks great. It still looks awesome. His claws on his hands and his feet, very nice ivory color, starting off with kind of a lighter ivory and then going into a deeper brown as they get closer to his, fingers and his toes. And overall, that is about it for paint job. Very basic, but done perfect and beautifully. Next on, we'll go on into detail. Detail is fantastic. Again, X Plus hardly cuts any corners. There are some differences that I have noticed between, of course, this and the 25 centimeter, but that's, of course, they're two different, they are kind of two different figures and two different scales, but I'll go into more of that in a little bit. So for detail on the head, just all these little bumps and whatnot look great. The horn looks great. His muzzle, his nostrils, all the waves and wrinkles etched into the sculpt nicely. All the teeth in there individually sculpted. The tongue in there and whatnot, from what you can see, because his mouth is kind of closed, but it still looks very nicely sculpted. The spikes coming down the top of his head, very nicely individually sculpted. The ears, very nicely sculpted and folded back. Eyes, again, very nicely well done. All the wrinkles and whatnot onto his neck. You got all these other little tiny bumps on his neck there. And then, of course, his back plating. Very nicely well done. Very nicely, it's very nice, even going all the way down as it starts off a little bit small up here by his neck, and then widens out to his body, and then starts going small again all the way down to the very end tip of his tail. The detailing on his stomach with all the little kind of like square scaled pattern, very nicely well done, and it goes all the way down in his undercarriage and then all the way to the end of his tail. That pattern stays consistent. So very, very nicely well done. All the wrinkles and whatnot on his arms and his legs, very nicely well done, as well as all the little bumps and kind of like wart-looking skin parts on his arms and his legs look good as well. Very nicely well done. Just all the wrinkles, just looks great. Definitely looks like the 1965 Baragon. Now with let's see what I want to go in for with. Let's go with the extra headpiece first, and then I'll talk about the differences between the 30 and then the 25 that I have. So here's the 1968 head sculpt. Again, very nice paint job, pretty much the same paint job as before. The only differences on this is that the face does look a little bit more different. The eyes are the eyes a little bit more googly? Yeah, they're about the same. But almost really the only difference in this head sculpt, as you can tell, is the horn. The horn definitely comes up more at a curve. Try to see if I can get these in a good shot. But as you can see, the horn comes up a lot more. It's a big difference on the curve. It comes and curves a lot more up. And then his ears, even though they're folded back, his ears are still folded up almost. They're almost kind of in the motion of coming up or coming back down. But so the ears are kind of lifted up a little bit more. They're not all the way back down to where they're kind of stuck to his neck. But so those are the differences between the head sculpts of the 1965 and 1968 that you can tell is definitely the horn and the ears. Pretty much other than that, the face sculpt, it's a little different, but not all that much. It's pretty much the same. So you just got the horn and the ears, which are different. And paint job and everything is the same as it is on this guy, except for the horn. The horn is kind of a darker orange than anything. But that's really about it. Everything else is about the same paint job. So now let's go on to, since he's right here, a little bit of a comparison between the 30 centimeter and the 25 centimeter. Now, like I said in my review of my Gamera 1996 30 centimeter, 5 centimeters really isn't much of a difference, but as far as figures go, it can be a lot. So of course you got height difference and almost bulky difference. I rewatched Frankenstein Conquers the World not that long ago, and even though the 25 centimeter does Baragon justice, it's a great looking figure and whatnot, I also noticed Baragon in a lot of shots where he was standing up, he was a lot fattier, he was a lot chunky, he was chunky, he was a lot fattier, he was a lot heavier. And so this figure definitely captures that look of when Baragon is standing up and fighting Frankenstein. So the 30 centimeter diamond reissue does knock not totally out of the park. Again, they're both great figures, but I do prefer this one. And again, little details that I did notice. The horn on this one, the Rick Boy version for this one had a light-up horn and stand-up ears. But the horn is translucent on both figures, whether Rick Boy or standard, but the horn on this one is painted. I want to say the translucent horn I like a little bit better just because it gives the figure that much more realism rather than it just being a painted solid color. And then on my 25 centimeter Baragon, from my review, if any of you remember watching it, or if you want to go back and watch it, he has these little holes, not all the way through the vinyl, but indentations of holes that's where the actor got air from and could see out of the suit. On this one, there is no such thing. He just has kind of like the wart look and whatnot. So they got those differences. And of course, the pose is a little bit, this one's a little more hunched over. His arms are a little bit more extended here. And, size difference. And of course, the faces are different. Kinda, not really. This Baragon, his eyes are pretty much almost looking straight forward at you. If not, they pretty much are. And then, of course, this one's a little more googly-eyed, which is kind of what we're used to with Baragon anyway. So, but in all, this one definitely takes the cake as far as Frankenstein Conquers the World accuracy goes. This one, still a good figure, but this one beats it by just that much. But, so anyway, you guys, that's about it for my review on this figure. Let me get this guy back up here on the shelf. And that's about it, you guys, for my review on the X Plus 30 centimeter diamond reissue Baragon 1965 and 1968. Hope you guys enjoyed this review. Like always, we are Godzilla Fan Freaks. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and we will see you guys in the next figure review. Thank you for watching.